factor. They constantly surprise us, both in amazing ways and not so much. We're Ben and Syya, and welcome to the Gnaw on This Business Bytes podcast. This show is all about real-life things we all deal with every day, how they relate to business, and how to make some sense out of our daily chaos. Welcome to the show. And welcome back to another episode of Gnaw on This Business Bytes. I'm Ben, this is Syya, and you know what? Here's another thing to think about. Marketing and sales. Why can't they play nice? Listen, I've been in this game for 30, 35 years. I've worn a sales hat. I've worn a marketing hat. I've dealt with customers at mid-sized companies, large companies, enterprise companies. It amazes me, no matter where I go, no matter what I do, there's this wonderful silo between sales departments and marketing departments. They get finger pointing all the time, and they don't play nice together. Now, there are exceptions to this rule. If you work at a company that actually has harmony between sales and marketing, and you actually focus on the customer together, God bless you. Please take what you've learned and spread the word from wherever you are. But this is one of my pet peeves, is that marketing and sales have a different understanding of what the customer wants, what the customer needs, and how it works. And here's my thought process on this. Marketing, sales, work together. Salespeople, go to the marketing meetings. Marketing people, go out on drives with your salespeople. Go to trade shows together. Listen to the customer. And listen, and actually forget about what the data is telling us. Forget what you're pulling in from analytics. Guess what? That's a fact checker. But you need to actually talk to human beings and actually sit there and say, okay, what is their fears? What is their wants? What is their desires? What is keeping them up at night? What are the problems that they need solved? And now let's sit there and build a communication package that's going to allow you guys to do this together, because sales needs marketing, marketing needs sales. One is not more important than the other. You need to work together, and your focus is not on budgets. It's not on turf wars. It's not on any of this kind of stuff. It's on making sure the customer is loyal to you, they trust you, and they want to buy from you and not your competition. So, Syya, take it away.
Okay, there's multiple things here that is like I can take apart, if you will. So I am a sales career professional, so full disclosure, I am on team sales. However, my current iteration of my entrepreneur life, I am team marketing. So right. I'm kind of laughing because I'm like, hey, I'm both sides now. But here's where I think sales and marketing, there's going to be different types of conversation, okay? Because there is corporate marketing and there's field marketing and then there's sales, right? And there's product marketing. So there's three different types of marketing.
And there's brand.
And there's brand. So, I mean, there's definitely different ways that each of them have their own challenges in working with the nebulous sales vortex, right? The ultimate thing is this. As a salesperson, for me, my point of contention with marketing, all the 5 different pillars that we just mentioned, is can I repeat your message in a way that is articulate and efficient enough and doesn't sound hokey to my client? Does it answer a value that they will perceive as something that they are interested in engaging in the conversation? Right? And the problem is you've got different marketing departments who have different priorities. And their messaging is going to be catered to what their priorities are. And as salespeople, it's almost like a schizophrenic messaging. It's like all these voices in our head are trying to tell us, say this, say that, say, and by the way, and it's like, again, salespeople tend to be, not saying always, but they tend to be a little bit more on the flightier side of they're extroverts in general. I don't get me wrong. There's tons of great introverted sales reps. Don't get me wrong.
True. Absolutely.
But they tend to be the ones that will have to pull messaging together. And if you've got 15 different messages and voices going on in your head at the same time, no wonder salespeople lose the message. No
Mhm.
wonder they look not put together. No wonder they say, screw it. I'm just going to make my own message and screw all of your little PowerPoints and screw everything, right? Or what I used to do when I was in my corporate world sales, I would take the 15 slide decks from each marketing division, and then I would pick one slide from each, and holy crappers on crackers. I get that the messaging was on point as far as what the message I want to articulate for my client, but the slide deck branding was all wrong. The colors were
Right.
all different. I mean, it was very obvious I motley crewed this thing together. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That is, salespeople don't want to look unpolished, and here we are. And that was a multi-billion-dollar business that I was with.
And the branding people would go crazy because you sit there and Frankenstein all these PowerPoint decks together, and they're going, but our branding's off, and our the story's not off, and you're not telling the pretty story the way we want it told, So you build up the animosity from that side as well. So I get what you're saying on that one.
It's painful, my friend. It's painful. And again, and here's the other thing. Again, I was in tech sales, so my brain does go back to tech. So I'm trying to broaden it out to other industries, but it also depends on your audience. If I'm talking to the technical team, then I would lean on the product marketing slide deck, right? Because they want to know more about speeds and feeds. And actually, they want to know more of the, can you save me time and can I do less work about it, right? That's really what they're looking for. But if you were to bring that same slide deck to the CIO or CTO, they'd look at you and be like, I don't even know what language you're speaking.
And I don't care.
And I don't care. That's not my problem. You're not solving my problem, right? And that's the problem, I think, with marketing in general, is making sure that the slide decks that are available to us are for that appropriate audience. Too much, I think, in technology, they focus on the speeds and feeds and not enough on the business case. Or to appeal to, now with technology, guys, marketing has a very big vested interest in understanding the technologies, because now social media and all the integrations in it for, machine learning, AI and all that stuff to better cater the marketing message and all the analytics. You got the CMO group now caring as a client. It's just so much going on. I do think you're right.
There's a lot of different masters involved. There's no
Yes.
question. There's a lot of different masters. And here's another point that you're looking at, is that the product marketing group has been working with the product development group for months, creating all these powerful decks and this, that, and everything, and ignoring the fact that, wait a second here, somebody has to sell it. And then 2 weeks before launch, the sales department gets this brand new deck and says, okay, here's what we're selling this quarter. You go out and sell it. And the sales reps go, wait a second here. I'm 12 weeks or 10 weeks away from year end. I'm not selling this. I'm going to sell what I already know. I'm going to sell what I know my customers already want, because I want to make my year end bonus and I want to go on the trip to Cancun. So you're sitting there going, the salespeople have no idea that this new product's coming down the pipe. They have no idea, how to sell it or why to sell it until it's thrown in their lap 14 days before it's supposed to be launched. And therefore, they have no way to prepare their customers, to let their customers know that this is coming. They have no way to prepare themselves to make sure that they can own the material themselves. And therefore, their attitude is, I'm not selling this. So this stuff comes out and it lands flat, because you don't have a sales force that's willing to promote it, because it's going to ruin their quarter. It's going to ruin their year. So we need to sit there and figure out, how do we make sure that everybody is aligned and everybody's needs are looked after, to be able to make sure that when we do create a new launch, when we do create a new product, that everybody's excited about it, not just the end customer, but the people that actually are out there selling it.
You just made a mention of something, and I know this is near and dear to your heart, Ben, because I need to ask you this. This sounds like an internal communication problem or challenge, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about this, because I too many times has a new product launched where they're like, oh, and here's all the slide deck, and here's your 2 hours of training, right? Like, we're gonna do a series of training, yeah. So how would you recommend? So if I'm a business and I'm about to launch something, and the sales staff hadn't been aware of it because they don't want, heaven forbid, information to leak out of that new product, right? So you're now basically springing this brand new thing onto your Salesforce. What is your recommendation then? Like to say, okay, guys, here are the series of steps you want to launch. Let's say, for example, June 6th. How would you kind of do an over like view to say, if you want to go live June 6th, here's what we need to do before?
I think by January 1st or January 2nd, the Salesforce needs to know that what's coming.
Okay.
Whether it's a new product, whether it's a new thing, and we need to get sales involved and says, is this going to work with the sales cycle of your customers? Like if we launch this thing June 1st, is this going to lay flat? Because guess what? Procurement and the people that are decision makers are going into summer. Nobody's going to look at this thing until September.
Oh, good point.
And you need to think about it that way. Just because product marketing says, "Oh, we're going to launch this thing June 1st," maybe the customer's not not ready to even think about this thing until September. And if you leak this out to customers and start talking to the customers in February, say, "Look, this is a new product that's coming out. We're not going to have any real information about this until June. We're not going to launch this thing to June, but here's what's coming down the pipe." And this I can't tell you the details, but it's going to be a new software package, and it's going to be in this vein, and it's going to now able to do this. So please don't make any decision. If you've got any projects working on this, please don't make any decisions until we can have a chance to show you what we're doing, because it's going to be ready, and we're going to have it tested and verified and be able to have this ready to launch on June 1st. Can we set up a meeting for June 3rd or June 4th so I can sit there and show this to you? Great. And the more that you can give sales a heads up of what's coming and just say, here's a little snippet that you can leak to your customer. Here's a little snippet that you can leak to your customer. Here's a little thing. It's not going to, it's not going to be the R&D. It's not going to be the back end code. It's not going to be speeds and feeds. It's going to be, this is the problem that we think that you have. This is how we think we can solve it. And these are, this is why we've come up with this decision in the first place. This is why we built this thing. The more story we can give the salespeople early on that they can tease their customers with, and let their customers know, hey, we're thinking about you and we're working on, we know that you've had this problem. We're working on it. And we're going to have something new to show you on June 1st that you're going to get really excited about. All of a sudden you got sales aligned with this thing, with product marketing, with, and then you make sure that every single team is ready to go, because they know that they're going to want to, the customers are going to be chomping at the bit on this at the beginning of June. And I think that that's what we need to do. It needs to have internal communication where everybody understands not only what's happening, but why it's happening, when it's happening, what the benefits are. And the speeds and feeds, guess what? Yeah, that can be trained in the last 2 weeks, but at least everybody's aligned and ready to go. And the salespeople know, hey, listen, June 1st, I have this new product launch that I got to push out.
No, that's good. No, that was really meaty. And sorry, it was probably not an unfair question to ask such a meaty question for this, but I think it's fascinating that the bottom line is collaborate and communicate.
Absolutely.
Right? The more you get feedback from each other, the more information and data that you have that's going to be relevant and of interest.
Sales team is going to come back and say, listen, what about this?
Yeah.
And have you thought about this? And have you looked at this? And it could make the product even better before it launches.
Yeah. It's something I wasn't ever really privy on, and I knew the meetings would take place is, they had these things called like customer councils, client councils, whatever you want to call it. And I'm sure if they're smart, marketing should have been in those meetings. I'm wondering if they really were in those meetings or not, right? To get the feedback from the clients to say like, hey, this was our campaign. Did you know about it? And that's the irony. A lot of times they don't even know about these campaigns. They just know because the salespeople just like approached them and said, hey, Mary, check out this new widget or whatever, right? They didn't know that there was a huge Super Bowl ad campaign about Super Widget, right? Exactly. And I think that's the fascinating part too.
Yeah. So I think that's a good place for us to leave this, because we need to sit there and align our teams, communicate more effectively, and be able to put ourselves in a position where we can, when it's time to go out to the customer, that everybody's on the same page and everybody is excited to go. So I'm Ben.
And I'm Syya.
We'll see you soon.
Hey. Thanks for listening to another episode of Gnaw on This Business Bytes. If you liked what you heard, we most humbly ask that you like, share, and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to communicate more effectively within your organization, contact Ben at yourbrandmarketing.com or me at brilliantbeammedia.com. We can help you build your community, brand awareness, and personality through digital content and podcasting. We cannot wait to hear from you. So see you next week for another episode of Gnaw on This Business Bytes.